All right. So if you happened to survive and Cooper Kupp was in your starting lineup and he gave you 0 points, the question is, will you start him this week? And I will include in this question Darnell Mooney, who last night had 0 catches, only 1 target, and who's been great. You know, it really had a nice season. He's been one of those surprise wide receivers. So are you starting Darnell Mooney or Cooper Kupp? Would you rather have either one of these guys? Darnell Mooney goes up against the Giants, which is a juicy matchup for even Kirk Cousins, who honestly can't play anymore. That was ugly last night. Once again, please put in Michael Penix. Come on, guys. But it doesn't seem like they're going to. And then Cooper Kupp gets the Jets. Would you rather Mooney or Kupp?
I'm going Cooper Kupp there. The Kirk Cousins concerns are real for me. That Giants defense is terrible. But I think I still have to go Cooper Kupp there, especially considering the Stafford Kupp connection that I think still exists. I think they're going to hear that, unless there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know with like a nagging injury or something like that. I think that they're going to hear that news sort of story all week long of Cooper Kupp 0 points, like no receptions. What's going on there? And so I think he's going to bounce back in a nice way. If you look at the couple of times this season when he's had his bad games, he always bounces back next week. So I'm going Kupp over Darnell Mooney. I think I would start both of those guys with a reasonable degree of confidence based mostly on how bad the Giants defense has looked recently. So,
all right. So I've got that choice. I don't have the choice of Kupp, but I'm debating whether or not to put Mooney in. And that was a disappointment last night, but I might need him this week.
That whole game was a disappointment though, man. I mean, I think there's good reason to be concerned about the Falcons passing game because of what's going on with Kirk Cousins.
Oh.
I did see right before we started recording, I think Raheem Morris was like, we got to figure out what's going on at the quarterback position. That's the first time there's been any sort of ambiguity about what is happening with Cousins, but at this point they're sliding out of the wild card. Like their chances are disappearing right in front of them. At some point you got to make the switch.
We do this in fantasy football too, that when we're winning, we think our team is fine. I think we talked about that earlier this year. The Falcons are doing that. It's like you're winning, but it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's not working out. So, yeah, you talk about Drake London. We need these guys. London, Mooney, Bijan's been awesome. I'm thankful for Bijan, but yeah, we got to get
Bijan is QB proof, but man, yeah, you want him to make that switch at this point, I think, if you own one of those receivers.
All right. So, Courtland Sutton has been, great all season. Still averaging over 20 points per game over the last 5 games. This past week, 3 catches, 32 yards, and a touchdown. Week 16, he goes up against the Chargers. So a divisional game, Chargers, Broncos. Would you rather start Courtland Sutton or his former teammate, Jerry Jeudy, who's in Cleveland, who has been lighting it up? He's wide receiver 10 on the season in total, in terms of total points. Last week, 11 catches, 108 yards. Now, he's been Jameis's guy. So with Jameis going out, do you still trust Jeudy? So would you rather Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy?
I'm not sure if I can answer this one. Feels like a coin flip. I think the Chargers defense is good. The Chargers game plan is generally to control the pace of play, to control time of possession, and they have a good defense. So if Jameis, even after his terrible performance this past week, if Jameis was starting, I think that I would go Jeudy. I just have no idea what to expect with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So I think in the playoffs, I think I probably feel better about rolling with Sutton, knowing all the circumstances, knowing DTR could go out there and throw for 80 yards or something crazy could happen. I mean, the Bengals defense is bad. So that's a tough one, man. What do you think? This feels like a coin flip. There's so many interesting moving parts with this one. This is a great would you rather.
Yeah, so I'm invested in Sutton, so I'll be starting Sutton. Yeah, I don't like the QB question marks, and they didn't do well this past. I mean, he still put up some good points, but the overall situation with the Cleveland Browns, I can't trust them in the playoffs. I mean, Jerome Ford was good this past week. Like, he ran the ball well too. So and Njoku's out. I don't know. I would probably avoid the Browns if I had at least a decent option. And in this scenario, I would feel good about Courtland Sutton. All right, last one. Would you rather Isaiah Pacheco at running back or Travis Etienne? So Etienne, kind of an up and down season, Now Patrick Mahomes is out for the Chiefs. Will they run the ball more with Carson Wentz out there? It's still been somewhat of a split between Kareem Hunt and Pacheco. Pacheco's yet to have that big breakout game. This past week he had 6 fantasy points, 13 carries for 32 yards. So not ideal. Not real involved in the passing game. Will Wentz, if he does start, change that? And then ETN, up and down all year, but this past week, 12.5 fantasy points. So do you buy that? You stick with ETN? What do you do?
I think I'm going ETN there. I continue to believe that the Chiefs know that they're just playing for the playoffs. They're going to continue to ease Pacheco back in. I don't know what's going to happen without Mahomes in that game, but I can tell you what I do know, which is that Travis Etienne is on the final year of his contract, and he knows that he's playing for his next contract in the NFL. So I think even if the Jaguars are terrible, I don't think that we see Etienne give up here at the end of the season. I think that he's motivated by something more than the record of that team. So I'm going to go Etienne there. But at the end of the day, I think it's whichever one of them scores a touchdown is probably the one who ends up scoring more points. I just have no idea who that is.
Jacksonville has been the weirdest team this year for fantasy purposes. I mentioned Brian Thomas Jr. earlier. Great year for him. Rookie wide receiver, awesome. Evan Ingram. I mean, the injuries, the random, he's out, he's in and out. I mean, it's just all of a sudden we thought that Tank Bigsby was going to be the guy. Now he's a distant second, barely was involved this week. So yeah, I think ETN, maybe he's turned the corner. I mean, we know what he's capable of. I mean, we forget, but last year through 12 weeks, he was unbelievable. So there is talent there. Jacksonville will try to finish the season with some momentum. Mac Jones, he's fighting for stay in the NFL, be a backup, all that kind of thing. So
Etienne's a great
name.
The
Raiders.
Etienne is a great name to remember. I'm not saying that he's as good as Saquon or Josh Jacobs. He'll be on a different team next year.
Oh, you think?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, is this not the last year of his rookie contract?
I think that's interesting.
I think that he will be on a team other than the Jaguars next season, and he could be the kind of guy who gets a new lease on life with just a functional team, and so he's a guy to just keep in mind next fall when draft season rolls around.
Buy the dip.
Yeah, buy the dip.
I agree with that. Absolutely.